thank you all again for making yourselves available to assist with this project. It is quite important. And I want to take you briefly through the presentation. As I said, the two core topics, the family engagement and the raising a child, those are the messages that we want to carry out there. The others are supporting and what makes you a better citizen and builds you as a person. But those two areas are the areas that we want to focus on. And so that's why I've asked Ms. Brown to take us through those again. So I'm going to just hand over.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Douglas. Good afternoon again, everyone. All right.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
I'm sure you're familiar with the face by now, so I will come off camera in a bit when I start to share screen. But Ms. Douglas, I don't think that was any time wasted at all. Key information that everyone needs to be aware of. So I'm happy that you got that done. In terms of the presentations, I want for you just to be able to raise your hand, open your microphones when you raise your hand and you're acknowledged, and speak to us in terms of whether you're understanding the content, whether there is something else that you feel needs to be included, or if there is some other way that you may feel comfortable delivering the content. We're going to be going through the content as efficiently as possible because based on we don't know the scenarios that you will encounter. The schools might give you short period of time, some persons might get a longer period of time, and so you will have to be flexible and you will have to adjust yourselves accordingly. In light of that, it is important that you are knowledgeable of your content. So whatever it is that you're going to present, that you are knowledgeable of it. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to swap the slides word for word, but knowledgeable meaning you have an understanding, you know what's there, you know what comes in the topic, so that you are able to express yourselves in such a way that you feel comfortable. Let me start sharing my screen. Before I go into the family engagement presentation, I just want to highlight that it's in a slide show or it's in a PowerPoint setting, but you can also, based on your reality at the time, choose to present through a discussion with the group that you're having. You can also present by having your flashcards and you speak to the group based on what's on your flashcards. It is advisable that you print or have a printed copy of your slides. So as opposed to having the cards themselves, you can have the printed copy of the slides so that if you're not able to show a PowerPoint and you don't have those resources, then you can read off of your slide without it coming across as though you're actually just reading off something, but you have it as a guide. There is also, so we have PowerPoint, we have flashcards, there is discussion. It can mean a little role play. So if you have someone that's working alongside you or that's assisting you, you can do role plays with the information as well. So that being said, those are just some different ways that you can think of presenting the information. The content that's on the slides, the content is taken from the training manual that you would have been introduced to. So what's there is just the frame or the skeleton, and it's the hope that after the presentations now persons will come to the training sessions where the trainers will further go through the content and persons will be educated in depth on the topics. All right, so remember, please stop me at any time. We're here to, just engage with each other for the next few minutes. And I'll try to go through as quickly as possible too, because we also want to have a time limit attached to see how long it may take. Yes, Samantha.
You might hear vehicle in my background because I'm on the road. But in terms of addressing the parent groups, I think it might be best that we use flashcards. Reason being, the school might have other things on their agenda that they would like to cover, and we don't want to get the parents too bored, because some parents already don't want to be at a PTA meeting. And once you're going to do a lot of talking or maybe be showing slides, some of them tend to become distracted or bored or ready to leave or stuff like that. So maybe having flyers, using a flashcard, touching on the points that are discussed at these meetings, and then inviting them or urging them to come out to the Saturday meeting might be something that we have to look at more in depth, or in depth we will go with each topic at a parenting session.
Okay, great. Thanks, Samantha, for that. So we look into that. Ms. Douglas and I, we were discussing maybe having a summary sheet as well. So maybe that can help with the process. Ms. Douglas, I'm not sure. Are you able to maybe time the presentation so we can get an idea of how long it will take to go through the slides?
Yes, I can.
All right, great. So family engagement is the first of our topics, and we're looking at how families can be involved. What will we learn from the presentation? From this topic, we will look at family structures, parenting styles, and communication skills. Firstly, what does your family look like? At this point, you may ask persons to share what their family structure looks like. Which family type is represented here? The first picture, we have a group of persons who are all related. The second, we have a gentleman and his son. And then the third, there are three persons, a father, mother, and a son. Which family type do you think is represented here? We have three family types: the nuclear parent, the extended family, the nuclear family, the extended family, and the single parent family. So I'm going to ask persons to indicate at this point which family type is represented in each of the images.
So for the first picture, with a lot of people on it, that's the extended family. With the man and his son, that's a single parent.
Okay,
And
Samantha.
oh, sorry. I didn't know it was one.
give somebody else a chance.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Anybody else?
As said before, the man with the child as a single parent family.
Okay.
And the last family.
The picture with the mother, father, and child, that's the nuclear family.
Okay, great. So for this particular slide, when you're presenting it, it's an opportunity for persons to be involved, for the participants to be involved. I am not sure, Ms. Douglas, if at this point, based on the points raised earlier, if we could even print some of these and just have them so the presenters can take them. And if you're not able to show a PowerPoint or have a slide, then you could maybe show pictures of the family type and people could just indicate what family type they think is represented there. All right, so we're sharing ideas in terms of the presentation as we go along, right? Based on the context that you may have. So thank you for those persons who participated. The types of families, we have single parent family, which consists of one parent raising one or more children on his or her own. The nuclear family, this family type consists of two parents and children, as was seen in the picture. And then the extended family type consists of two or more adults and children who are related either by blood or marriage and who are living in the same home. And as you saw from the picture, you will realize that the extended family may have the mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, cousins, aunts. So it's a large number of persons who are all related and living in the same home. Now we move on to parenting styles. And I want to find out from you, which parenting style do you think that you are using? While you think about that, here are some parenting styles that are seen on the images. Now, from the image here, the mother is saying, you do what I say because I am the parent here. And the child is thinking or saying to himself, I wish she would just listen to what I have to say. Does anyone have any idea which parenting style is being used here?
Authoritarian.
Okay, we have a bright spark. That's correct. That's correct. All right, let's move on to the next one. Here is a loving father with his daughter, and apparently it's homework time. Which parenting style is this father using?
Democratic.
Anybody else? Anybody else wants to try? So this is the authoritative parenting style, which based on your, that was Samantha, based on your explanation,
It
it
was
would,
Marianne.
oh, Marianne, thank you, Marianne. The authoritative parenting style is one that mimics a democratic approach, yes. So it's one where the parent is involved and the child is also involved. For this one, I hope that you are able to see what's on my screen here. This little girl says, I am in charge here, not my mom. I do whatever I want. And you see her stepping on her mother, literally. So what parenting style is the mother using?
I think this one is permissive.
Yes, definitely a permissive parent. She allows the child to do whatever she wants. And then the final one is a father, another father and his daughter. The father is thinking to himself, please leave me alone, child. I had a long day at work. I have no time or energy to help with homework.
We haven't heard from Marshallee, Natoya. Just make a try.
All right. Anybody wants to type in the chat? All right, so in the interest of time, this one is the uninvolved or the neglectful parent. All right, so similarly to the others, we could have printed pictures. And if you don't have the printed pictures, what you could do is use the balloons. All right, so you could have a little mini role play sort of for these ones where you are explaining the parenting styles to just use the balloons to say what the parent would say or what the child would say to demonstrate the parenting style that is being used. Now, the 4 parenting styles are authoritarian, permissive, authoritative, and the uninvolved or neglectful parent. For the authoritarian parent, the parent believes that he or she knows best is very strict and focused on blind obedience. For the permissive, this parent provides few behavioral guidelines because the parents don't want to upset their children. Hence, the children are allowed to do anything that they want to do. For authoritative, this blends a caring tone with structure and consistency. So both parent and child, they are involved in decision making, and there is structure, there is consistency in terms of the parenting. For uninvolved or neglectful parent, the parent is neither controlling nor nurturing and doesn't seem to care much. And you could see that from the pictures. Based on the responses, I'm considering that what we could do is do the parenting styles or explain the parenting styles first. That may help you as well as help your audience. And then after explaining, then you have that bit of interaction with the pictures or with the clothes. What do you think about that? Would you feel more comfortable presenting in that way?
Facilitators, please respond.
That could work. Yes, that could work.
Sorry,
Okay,
I
so-
didn't hear the question. Can you please ask the question again?
All right. So what if you notice this is a different style or a different approach in terms of the presentation? I want to get from you what will work, what you think will work, and what you don't feel comfortable with. So the suggestion, or I'm asking whether discussing the parenting styles first and then going through the little quiz with them, if you'll feel more comfortable doing that. So this slide is what you will read first, and then you will explain.
I believe that if we do it that way, it will cause a greater level of interaction, because then you have basically explained to them the different types of parenting styles that are there. And then you could maybe ask a few questions, ask them what kind of parenting style they practice at home, and you get some form of interaction.
Okay, great. So what we'll do is just switch around the slides to present this one first, and then you can have your questions handy and show them the pictures if you're using pictures, or you can use the bubbles that are there and do your little role play, and then you'll get them to respond. Now we look at values and attitudes. When we speak of values, we speak of the things that are most important to people. Some common examples of values, and these are some things that you will pass on as parents to your children. Some examples are love, honesty, trustworthiness, loyalty, truth, self-respect, responsibility, courage, and family. And then we look at attitudes, the ways in which people act based on their values. Some examples are treating people with respect, being open-minded, obeying parents, always telling the truth, and standing up for the less fortunate. So one of the most important things to take away from here is that your values, or the things you hold as important, they will impact or the way you act. All right, so your values will affect how you behave or how you act. And similarly, the values that you have, your children will learn from you and will impact how they behave as well. Now we move on to setting boundaries and why it is important for us as parents to set boundaries with our children. Boundaries help young people to develop self-control. It helps them to feel a sense of belonging to society and feel cared for and safe. Boundaries help parents to look after themselves and other family members, because as parents, you have to remember that it is important to care for yourself too. The types of boundaries that you set will depend on the setting or the environment. That is, the person's healthy boundaries with a romantic partner, for example. So the boundaries you have with your spouse will be different from the boundaries that you will set with your child. And it is important as a parent that you understand the difference between these two boundaries. When you're setting boundaries, parents, please remember to be trustworthy. Do not create too many all at once because you don't want to confuse the child. You want to be precise, so speak to exactly what you are referring to. You want to involve the children, make sure that they are part of the process. Create a contract with your child, so both of you are aware of what the boundaries include. Post the rules, put it somewhere in the house where your child is able to see it, or somewhere where you can share it with them that they are always able to access it. Recognize appropriate behavior. Avoid labeling your children and never undermine the other parent. Make sure that you work together with the other parent, whether you live in the same household or not. So these are just some considerations or some things that you should consider in terms of family engagement or in terms of being involved as a family. Do we have any questions based on the presentation?
No questions from me.
Does it seem simple enough, or do you feel that it needs to be broken down even more?
I think it is simple enough.
Okay.
It is simple.
Simple.
It's
Okay.
simple enough. I think the facilitators will get it across to the parents.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. So that's 15 minutes and 9 seconds.
Right. And that's
In the
that
way that you just did
includes
it.
right,
Yeah.
and that includes the back and forth.
Right.
All right.
My only concern, Sherry, so, and I, even from reading the manual and with it, I mean, this is the second time we are using the manual to do parenting. So we talked about the different types of families, the family structure, and we talked about parenting styles, and we talked about values and attitudes. We also spoke about boundaries, but we didn't connect them. If you understand what I'm saying, and it doesn't connect them in the manual either. So how does the family structure affect the parenting style, and how does the parenting style and the values and attitudes come together, and how does creating a boundary come together to create that goal of being better parents? If you understand what I'm saying. So when you start your presentation, you want to start with that, show the connection. And when you end your presentation, you want to end with probably a charge or a quotation or something that shows how it comes together.
For this presentation, we'll look at some key points in raising the child. When we think about raising the child, we want to discuss ways of raising children, understand that children have rights, and identify positive discipline tools for effective parenting. What are some of the effective parenting principles that we want to use while we raise our children? The first is to show love to your child. Ensure that you discipline constructively. Share quality time together. Care for yourself. Enable proper socialization of your child. Develop mutual respect. Give undivided attention. Offer guidance, and be realistic. So these are some principles that you can apply in your own way. However you understand in terms of showing love to your child, however you understand in terms of sharing quality time, whether it is spending time to read a book with them, watching television with them, enabling proper socialization, meaning that you're going to help them to get involved in different activities and with school and church and the different institutions to ensure that they are socialized well. Make sure that you respect your child so that they are able to respect you. Give them adequate attention, and as the parent, you are to guide them. Also, be realistic. Understand their current realities. We look also at what is positive discipline. What does it mean to discipline your child in a positive way? Positive discipline teaches your children new skills, such as how to manage their behavior, how to solve problems, and to deal with uncomfortable emotions. When you engage your child using positive discipline, they will be able to reap the following benefits. It prevents many behavior problems. It will ensure that your children are actively learning from their mistakes. So when they fail at something, they will understand that they can get better at it, they can brush themselves off, and they can do better next time. Children will learn which behaviors are acceptable. So what it is that is acceptable versus what is not acceptable, whether it is at home, at school, or wherever they may go in the world. Positive discipline also fosters positive relationships. It is important that your children develop positive relationships with other children that they play with and interact with their parents at home, their parents at home, as well as with their teachers and other adults that they will interact with. There are some differences between discipline and punishment. Many times as parents, we confuse the two terms. For positive discipline, it means you never include violence, whereas with punishment, physical and psychological form of violence is used. It is not imposed with authority when positive discipline, while punishment, you question the individual's dignity and not the action. For positive discipline, you question the action and not the person. Positive discipline offers an alternative behavior. Punishment does not offer an alternative behavior. Positive discipline produces positive learning, so it's action related, while punishment produces fear and obligation to obey, not learning. Positive discipline always thought out and planned, while punishment is based on abuse of power. For positive discipline, it encourages child participation, and punishment is where faster and easier, and it does not require time to think and plan. So it's on a whim. Positive discipline includes non-violent forms of punishment, while punishment never includes child participation. Now, to understand discipline versus punishment a little more, here are some examples. And I want for you parents to tell me whether you think that these are positive discipline or punishment. The first one says, I expect that you will complete your homework before you watch television. Is that positive discipline or punishment?
Positive discipline.
Positive discipline.
All right, great. Your tablet and cell phone will be taken away for the rest of the day if your chores and homework are not finished.
Positive discipline.
Very good. You will receive a fine beating if you arrive home later than expected.
Punishment.
Punishment.
Right. And the final one, television time will be less tonight because of your unacceptable behavior at school today.
Positive discipline.
Positive discipline.
Very good. So now to understand positive discipline versus punishment, it will help you parents to utilize discipline versus punishment in raising your children. Thanks so much for listening. So that's the content for raising the child. How do you feel about the content that's there, firstly? Is it simple enough, or do we need to break that down some more too?
It's
Simple, you know.
simple enough. Yes.
Okay. I was thinking that somebody mentioned earlier using dub poem and some other forms, that for this particular presentation, even where I have the differences between discipline and punishment, or the principles of positive discipline, we could be creative with some aspect, with that particular aspect of the content. So I can think some more into that. All right. So that's it for the Raising a Child presentation.
All right. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.